10:31 remaining in the fourth quarter. 1st and 10 for the Broncos. Ball at their 33, moving right to left. A lot of reserves in on the Saints defense. One guy to keep your eye on is 56, Pat Swilling, the right outside linebacker. He's going to be a player. Kubiak, handoff, Wilhite, trying to sweep left, no go. Alvin Tolles, a nice open field tackle. Very nice tackle by Alvin Tolles, who came flying up from his inside linebacker position to drop Wilhite right at the line of scrimmage.
Alvin Tolles obviously worked very hard throughout the offseason, really built up, added some weight, and talking with Steve Sidwell, defensive coordinator today, they've been impressed with his progress through the training camp period.
It's going to be a tough area for the Saints to cut. Their linebacker.
They've got too many good ones. Not enough spots.
2nd and 10, ball at the 33, in motion, left to right. His roll, straight drop back by Kubiak. He's looking to the right, throwing over the middle. He's got roll at the 40. To the 42, looking for room around the left side, gets a block and is forced out of bounds at the 45-yard line.
Well executed play by the Broncos with one of their wide receivers coming across the field in motion. They snap the ball perfectly on timing. Kubiak drops back, and then the wide receiver stops, and he's shielded by the other receivers, and he cuts back across the field. Very hard to defend.
Tackle made by Pat Swilling over there, who forced roll out of bounds, but not before he picked up a first down. 9:22 to go in the fourth quarter. Game tied at 7. 1st and 10 Broncos. Ball at their 45. Gary Kubiak's gone all the way in the second half. Straight drop back. Swilling coming on the rush. Ball is thrown to the left side, complete. Now it pops loose, and they're ruling it incomplete. Held momentarily by Mark Jackson. It appeared he made the reception, and the ball was jarred free on the hit, but the official says no, it was just incomplete. Never had it. Good call.
Pat Swilling was rushing from his outside linebacking position, but Kubiak, he got a hand on Kubiak, but Kubiak gets the ball off. The receiver, Mark Jackson, should have had it.
Is it a concern that the Saints haven't generated much of a pass rush tonight? No sacks.
Well, I think they got some pressure in the first half, a couple of tips, but they just didn't get a hand on Elway and be able to keep him in the pocket.
2nd and 10 at the 45. Handoff on the delay to Wilhite. Knocked down short of midfield. Ball pops loose. Saints say they have it. The officials aren't saying anything as yet as they try to unstack them right at midfield. Saints say they've got the football, and the officials agree.
Joe Colbrand.
Listen to these Bronco fans. They are upset. Joe Colbrand, who was singled out for his play in preseason, comes away with the fumble recovery. With 9:09 remaining in the fourth quarter, there's a timeout with the score Denver 7 and the Saints 7.
Red beans and rice.
Love that cooking.
Gourmet dish at a fast food place.
Cajun cooking.
Boy, I love those onion rings.
Love that chicken from Popeyes.
I eat them right there.
I see the sign and I go.
Love that chicken from Popeyes.
There's just one place for that famous taste.
That's Cajun.
The will to win, to be clearly better than anyone else. It's what drives men to race, and Miller to make beer. Beer with purity you can see, quality you can taste. A beer that contains no additives, no preservatives. Being the best you can be. That's the American way.
Miller's made the American way.
This is a team of 13 line technicians, one from each of the 13 Benson automotive dealers in Greater New Orleans. These Benson specialists are your car's front line of protection. Each is highly skilled, factory trained, and authorized by the maker to service your car. Take Mike Anderson here. He's certified by GM to repair computerized timing systems. The Benson service team is winning your confidence in the care they give your car. Every Benson dealer gives you something extra. Service after the sale.
9:09 remaining in the fourth quarter. It's been 7-7 for a long, long time.
Gerald Wilhite running with the football on that last play. Just two people hitting and the ball coming loose. Previously, the Broncos had just stripped the ball away from Reuben Mays, but that time it was just a good hard lick, and he couldn't hold on to the football.
Reuben Mays fumbled it away to the Broncos at their 24, and now Colbrand recovers Wilhite's fumble at the Denver 49. Saints hoping to put another score on the board. There hasn't been much of it. 7-7. First and 10. Ball right at midfield. Left to right. Hebert working. Looking to throw. Running up in the pocket. Throwing down the right sideline. He's got Jordan, but just off his fingertips.
Almost a big play. Bobby Hebert hung in the pocket real well under a lot of pressure. Buford Jordan came out of the backfield to the sideline and then turned it downfield. What you call on the playground is down, out, and down, just off the fingertips of Buford Jordan.
Working against the linebacker Darren Como. Hebert went down under the rush.
Bobby takes a nice little lick in the back just as he throws the ball.
Tony Colorito, a rookie out of USC, a 5th-round draft choice. So for the Saints, 2nd and 10, starting to rain more heavily now. Ball at midfield. Wideouts left and right, one back behind Hebert, long count. Play action, fake to Hilliard, short toss to Brenner, complete to the 41-yard line.
Misdirection play action pass. Two tight ends in the game to that side, Hobie Brenner and John Tice. John Tice in the wingback position comes off the line of scrimmage and goes deep. Hobie Brenner, the short pattern. Bobby in a little moving pocket, just a good toss to Hobie and pick up some valuable yardage.
Ray Phillips and Randy Robbins in on the stop. 3rd and 1 for the Saints now. Ball at the 41, and this is something that the Saints worked on a lot this week. Situations just like this, where the offense has to get that 1 yard to keep the drive alive and really move the ball farther downfield to get in position for a field goal. They're out of Morton Anderson's range right now. Strong formation, everybody in tight, out of the eye. The give straight ahead is to Hilliard, picking his way for the first down. Diving to the 39, and the drive continues. Tony Lilly, the free safety on the stop. But Dalton Hilliard, I would think, would be a very effective short yardage runner because he has that ability to spot the littlest seam.
And he darts and dashes. Kind of an unusual set for a 3rd and 1 situation for the Saints, and I really like it. They had two tight ends in the game and two backs, but they had a split end. Jeff Groh split out wide. It gives you the opportunity to throw a quick pass and could confuse the secondary. The Broncos almost didn't send a cornerback out to covering.
1st and 10, ball at the 38. First time tonight, I think, we've seen Tyrone Young to the near side. Eric Martin to the far side. Baxton and I give to the tailback Hilliard. Not much over left tackle. Swarmed over by Rick Dennison. Very little gain, if any. Now they'll call it about a 1 yard gain. 2nd and 9. Ball at the 37. Clock winding down to 7 minutes now in the 4th quarter. Raining a little bit more heavily here in Denver. Split backs behind Bobby Hebert. Again, Tyrone Young now in the game at wide receiver. You might look for him down deep. In motion is Young, right to left. Hebert giving to the fullback Jordan. He cracks it over right guard inside the 35 to the 34. It's like the Saints very conservatively, perhaps playing for field position.
Well, I'm sure they'd like to get a field goal. This is the big play. 3rd and 5. Denver will come in with their nickel or dime defense. The Saints will make substitutions and probably go with 3 or 4 wide receivers.
Dwight Walker is checked into the ball game. Now Bobby Craighead making an appearance. Number 33, the fullback out of Northeast Louisiana.
Jim, on this situation, 3rd and 5, you'll usually expect the defense to play man-to-man. So it's just a matter of the Saints' offensive people beating this Denver defense man-to-man. Let's see if they can do it.
Kelvin
Look
Edwards,
for Dalton Hilliard
left.
again on the option pattern.
Hebert throwing deep down the right sideline for tie in the sky. Incomplete. Young wants pass interference on the Denver defensive back, Ray Noble. Noble claiming it should go against Young. Tyrone's been known to push off a little bit when he gets some people on him.
There was contact. I thought a flag would be thrown one way or the other. Morton's going to try a long one.
Well, he hit a 55-yarder here last year. That's the longest of his career. The air is light, but the rain is a bit heavier.
He is on the grass, though, and not the infield.
He's on the grass, and Guido Merkins will kneel at the 41. It'll be a 51-yard attempt on the right hash mark. This to go ahead. Snap, placement, kick is up, on its way, and good. Morton Anderson, a 51-yard field goal, and the Saints have taken the lead. With 6:01 remaining in the fourth quarter, there's a timeout. With the score, New Orleans 10 and the Broncos 7.
You shaped it in your mind. Total performance. Now the all-new Toyota Supra brings it alive. Super power, created by a 3-liter 24-valve, 200-horsepower engine. Super suspension, racing type, double wishbone, fully independent. Super cockpit, where you perform. The new Toyota Supra, performance without compromise. Now the Supra dynasty begins. Who could ask for anything more?
When your car knocks driving uphill, does everybody pass you?
Everybody's passing
I'm
you.
well aware of that fact, Eunice.
Oh, it's only a comment, Walter.
And I took note of the comment, Eunice.
Try Texaco Super Unleaded. Its higher octane helps knock out the knocks that can rob power, while the detergent in its Petrox additive helps clean clogged fuel injectors.
Isn't that Werner Lutz? We went to high school together.
By golly, you're right. I thought Werner was dead.
Texaco Super Unleaded. Superstar power for more car power.
Ever feel like you just can't face another boring burger?
No more burgers. Turpin, come on in here. We'll get something else for lunch.
If you're tired of burgers, drop into Taco Bell for a taco salad. Fresh vegetables, seasoned ground beef, and real cheddar. You may never have another burger as long as you live.
You know what? We'll go to Taco Bell.
Okay, I'll meet you out front. Come on, I'm hungry.
This Sunday, regular tacos only 49 cents each at participating New Orleans area Taco Bell restaurants.
6:01 remaining in this ball game. The Saints have just taken a 10-7 lead. What do you see in Jim Mora's offense that you didn't see last year?
Well, we see a lot of different sets, but I really don't think we're seeing a third of the ones that they're going to employ throughout the season. A lot of different sets, a lot of motion, 3 wide receivers, 4 wide receivers. I think this is exciting. That's what people want to see. It also gives the defense a lot to prepare for.
You think these Denver fans expected the Broncos to have an easier time with the lowly Saints?
Oh, I definitely think they thought they'd have an easier time. That doesn't look like a Super Bowl contender out there tonight.
Let's go back down to the field and see what comes up in the final 6:01 of this ball game. Saints have just taken the lead 10-7 on a 51-yard field goal by Morton Anderson, who kicks it away. It's a deep kick, 5 yards deep in the end zone. Fumble there, and the ball comes out to the 1. He'll have to run with it. Jackson to the 10, breaking free now. What a return after being in great duress. He caught that ball, or attempted to catch it, 2 yards deep in the end zone. It popped out over the goal line, and of course then he had to run with it. Picked it up and really did a good job to get it back up to where he did, to the 15-yard line of the Broncos. Mark Jackson, the rookie receiver.
Could have really been a big play for the Saints. They really missed a golden opportunity to nail the Broncos inside their 5-yard line.
Well, we mentioned turnovers, and it was another turnover that the Saints got that accounted for that Anderson field goal. Colbrand recovering the fumble. Saints now with 2 interceptions and a fumble recovery tonight. Pitch out, running wide right is Ken Bell. He turns it upfield and close to the 29-yard line. Ken Bell ran very well in the scrimmage last week. A rookie free agent from Boston College, and a nice run there, Archie.
Well, he's one of the other people that's vying for that 5th running back position. Just a straight pitch out, he's running, but he runs hard, as they said he did in the scrimmage last week. He knows he won't get many opportunities to play in the preseason. He wants to make the best of it.
Wide to the left, Gary Roll. Wide to the right, Mark Jackson. A pair of young backup receivers for Gary Kubiak, with one setback, another youngster, Ken Bell, behind him. So the Broncos playing a lot of youngsters down the stretch. Kubiak will retreat the throw. Throwing, he's got Bell. Complete to the 35, the 36-yard line. Ken Bell, the rookie out of Boston College, running the ball well, receiving it effectively.
Both teams continue to throw a lot of just high percentage passes. Kubiak drops back and just throws to Bell quick out in the flat. Makes a real good move, like he's going out of bounds, but he turns back around, heads upfield, and picks up some extra yardage.
5'10", 190 out of Boston College. That'll bring up 2nd and 3 with the ball at the 35. The nose of the ball just over the 35, the 36 more accurately, of the Broncos. Saints lead 10-7, 4:24 remaining in the game. One setback is Bell behind Kubiak. Bell fumbles the pitch, still looking for it. He'll fall on it.
Oh,
It's still
Saints have it. Oh, he may have called it down.
That seemed to be an early whistle by the official. That ball was still loose, but they're going to call it dead, saying Bell recovered it back at his own 30-yard line. It didn't look like he did.
No, he never had it. He tried to fall on it. Terry Hogue was pursued on the play, was right in there, and the official just blew the whistle too quick.
And that's a bad call. You know, we've got instant replay here tonight.
Is that one they can put on the replay?
Yes, they can.
I'm surprised.
It involves possession. It involves possession, and it's very clear from the replay we're seeing that that was a bad call. That ball was still loose.
I'm really surprised they don't do that.
3rd and 8, ball at the 30. Kubiak in the shotgun. Here comes Haynes on the rush, and he's got him. The ball pops free, picked up by a Bronco who's down at the 34.
Well, there's the pressure you said we've been missing tonight. Just an excellent pass rush, an obvious passing down. The defensive line just tees off and comes, gets Kubiak for the sack.
James Haynes with the big pass rush, the ball bouncing free.
It's like John Dumball, the 10th round draft choice of Kentucky, is there to knock the ball loose.
Ken Bell covered it, but the Broncos will have to punt it away, ostensibly. 2:56 and the clock rolling in the 4th quarter. 4th and 14, the ball at their 24. Back deep, Rick Partridge, the former Saint. Back for the Saints, the sure-handed Jeff Groth at his 35. Here's the snap. Kick is away by Partridge. It's another beauty. Groth retreating to his 25, to the 23. He's got it back to the 30, 35. Trying to get outside, he does. To the 40, to the 45, to the 50. Across midfield and bumped out of bounds at the 48-yard line. Jeff Groth trying to earn a spot, retain a spot on this roster. Very sure-handed, not a world of speed, but trying to make himself valuable on this team. He's a holder. He may be called upon to do that this year if he makes the roster. He's a punt returner, and he comes back with a nice punt return here of a nice punt by Partridge. It was not a line drive by any means, and Jeff, a very nice return to put the Saints across midfield to the 48 of the Broncos.
It was a good punt and a couple of good blocks, but some excellent moves by Jeff. Jim, once again, we've got a situation here that Jim Mora wants his team to be in. 2 minutes and 28 seconds to go. They've got the ball in good field position. Let's see if they can run the ball and control the football.
And the rain's starting to fall more heavily. 1st and 10, Hebert with one back behind it. It's Hilliard to the 48, to the 46 of the Broncos.
That's not enough on 1st down. When the other team knows you're going to run the football, you want the clock to run. You want to get 4 yards on 1st down, and then the defense is playing into your hands.
Raymond Woodard on the stop. Rain falling heavily, and a lot of Bronco fans have decided to take to the streets.
Jim, with the 2-minute warning coming up, the Broncos, most people really expect them to run the football here and try to run it out. I think with 2:03, well, it is the 2-minute warning. I was going to say with 2:03, it'd be a good chance to run a play-action pass and try to catch them off balance.
With 2 minutes remaining in the 4th quarter, there's a timeout with the score: the Saints 10 and the Broncos 7. 2 minutes remaining in this ball game. 2nd and 8. The ball at the 46 of the Broncos. Saints trying to run out the clock. Bobby Craighead and Dalton Hilliard in an I formation behind Bobby Hebert. 2 wide receivers to the near side of the field. The pitch goes to Dalton Hilliard, sweeping left. He won't get anything.
Good pursuit by the Bronco defense. They call timeout.
Yes, they do, and they'll have 2 remaining. Want to thank Ray Johnston for keeping our stats tonight, and Todd Sandstead, our spotter. We're looking forward to coming home next week and playing the New England Patriots in the Superdome. It's hard not to get oversold in preseason. I don't know if this score tonight is indicative at all of how close the Saints are to being equal to the Broncos. There's a good chance they'll beat them here. But I think there is one thing you're seeing here that will be the hallmark of a Jim Mora team. I don't think they will beat themselves. I don't think they will commit needless penalties. I don't think they will be as undisciplined in the clutch as teams recently of the Saints have been.
I agree 100%. I think it's a team that will get better. It's always when you've got a start-over situation with new coaches and young people, you can be slow out of the blocks. But I've seen a lot of encouraging things. I think this team will continue to progress, and I think it'll play better even in the second half of the football season than it does in the first. We've got to be impressed with the discipline displayed by the overall team tonight.
Yes, you do. The Saints have 3 turnovers that they've collected from the Broncos. They have given away the ball just once. That on a fumble by Reuben Mays, in which the ball was stripped from him. Really nothing careless on his part at all. So you have to be impressed by that, and I would say the relative lack of penalties as well. 3rd and 9, ball at the 47 of the Broncos. Clock stopped with 1:51 remaining. Hebert will throw over the middle, caught by Hilliard. Still on his feet at the 31-yard line.
Once again, the option play. Good throw by Bobby Hebert and a real clutch catch by Dalton Hilliard. He comes out of the backfield. He can take the man inside or outside. He chose the inside. Bobby kind of threw it off balance, but put it right in there. And Dalton Hilliard once again shows what a good pass receiver he's going to be.
And it looks like maybe the Broncos have seen enough with Dan Reeves. They've got 1 timeout left, but they choose not to spend it, and the clock continues to run. 1:20 and counting. Ball 1st and 10 at the 31 of the Broncos. And it would appear that the Saints have scored a victory in their first preseason game. Remember, they did as well last year against the New England Patriots and never won another out of the 4. Split backfield behind Hebert. He'll give to Dalton Hilliard, sweeping left, cracking it inside for a good gain of 4 or 5 down at the 36, the 26-yard line. Now the Broncos will call their final timeout. Tony Colorito on the stop, the rookie from USC.
Jim, I agree with you. I don't think you can get too excited about a win in your first preseason game. At the same time, not too discouraged if you lose, but there has been some good things, and I think the Saints have to feel good about their preparation, the way they've played and taken on the Denver Broncos tonight.
I think they have to feel good about the play of Dalton Hilliard and Reuben Mays.
Very impressive. You know what's the best thing about winning your first preseason game is you go back. Jim Mora is going to work them just as hard as he did during the training camp period, during the initial days. They're going to work as hard or harder this week, but there's something about the atmosphere, there's something about the environment when you win that first game. There's no substitute for winning.
And now Jim Mora can say to them, see what happens when you work this hard, when you're this disciplined. We told the story on a cut-in back to New Orleans tonight during the news. Yesterday, Brian Hansen, the plane was leaving at 5 o'clock. Brian was a little late. He'd encountered some difficulty with rush hour traffic. The plane was to leave at 5 o'clock. Brian Hansen was coming up the ramp as the door closed. He was literally beating on the door to the plane to get in. Jim Mora looked at his watch. He says, it's 5 o'clock. We go, folks. I don't care who's out there beating on it. Might even be Tom Benson. We take off at 5 o'clock. He took off. Brian had to find his own way here, and it cost him some money.
Cost him plenty of money. A fine for missing the plane. Had to pay for his own flight here. Missed a meeting. I think Brian will probably be there early when we go to Houston in a couple of weeks.
Saints are going to try to kill the ball. They're in a very safe formation. Hebert will kneel it down, still stay on his feet, and then kneel it down at the 30. Smart play there by Hebert because it takes 2 or 3 more seconds off the clock. The Broncos anticipated him just kneeling down. Instead, Bobby looked like he would kneel down, retained his feet, and maybe took 2 or 3 more seconds off the clock, which continues to run now. The Broncos are out of timeouts, and it looks very much like the Saints will have won their first preseason game. I want to remind you that Archie and I will be on WWL Radio Monday night from 6:30 to 7:30 with the second guest. We'll be talking Saints football. Jim Mora will be on with Chris Myers from 7 to 7:30. And then Hap Glaudy and Jim Finks on the Saints Network Wednesday night. Hebert will again kneel finally and run out the clock at the 34. Well, that does it. Here's your final gun. And the Saints are winners in their first preseason game under Jim Mora. And you'd have to say, all in all, an impressive performance. Not a whole lot of offense, but you don't expect the offense to be ahead of the defense in the first preseason game.
No, I think you have to be impressed with just the way they hung in there against a good Bronco team. There was a lot of hustle. As I mentioned, I think the team showed a lot of discipline, hard hitting by the defense, some well-executed plays by the offense. I'm really encouraged by what I see by the offense. I know they're just scratching the surface on their formations, their alignments, and the things they're going to do. I think they're going to be exciting.
Under Bum Phillips, the philosophy was always, we don't care if you know what we're going to do, we're going to do it anyway. And perhaps that works if you've got superior personnel, but in recent years the Saints have not had superior personnel. Now they've got an element of surprise in their attack.
No, I don't think that dances in pro football these days. You've got to have a lot of surprises. You've got to have a variety of things to do, offensively and defensively.
Well, the Saints are winners. The happy story for New Orleans fans. The Saints have beaten the Denver Broncos in Mile High Stadium by a score of 10-7. We invite you to be with us next week as the New England Patriots, fresh off their Super Bowl game against the Chicago Bears, will be in the Superdome to take on the Saints. Be with us then. Those of you listening on our Saints radio network, stay tuned as we'll be right back in 2.5 minutes. For Archie Manning, this is Jim Henderson, and this has been a WWL Sports Network presentation.
This has been a WWL-TV Channel 4 Sports Special. This sports exclusive has been brought to you by Avondale Shipyards, Benson Automotive World, Burger King, Light Beer from Miller, Popeye's Famous Fried Chicken and Biscuits, Shoetown, Taco Bell, Toyota, and your Gulf States Toyota dealers. For the very best in sports, watch
to the 15-yard line. Adam Schreiber is now in at left guard for the Saints. He replaces Jim Rourke. A gain of 4 by Wayne Wilson. Remember, Todd was 4 out of 5 for 53 yards, but he's running the ball down deeper in his own territory right now as the Saints get their hands on the ball for the second time in the first quarter.
Good block by Ralph Williams, but Larry McGrew also forced him deep and helped destroy the play.
Let's go down for the call of Richard Todd. Looking right, dropping his Todd. Lots of time, throwing out of the backfield, complete to the tight end Tice at the 20-yard line. John Tice getting a start tonight. Tackled there by the strong safety Roland James. A nice safe 6-yard pickup by Richard Todd and the Saints offense.
The Saints employing 2 tight ends and 1 back in the backfield. Drop back pass. The outside man runs a hook pattern. Richard Todd couldn't get it in, so he dumps it off to John Tice in the right flat. Richard made a good throw over a charging defensive lineman.
Perhaps we should not be surprised at what good protection offensive lines are affording both Todd and Grogan, since neither team figures to blitz too much here in the early going. They want to learn something about their defense, learn something about who can cover man for man. 1st and 10, ball at the 20, a first down pickup by Todd, split backfield. He'll hand off to Campbell, sweeping left and down at the 22. Another 2-yard gain by Campbell, who's had little running room here in the early going. The strong safety once more, Roland James applying the hit.
Another sweep play to Earl Campbell out of split backs. He was in front of the pulling guard, Ralph Williams. Either Ralph was too slow getting to the point to block, or Earl's too quick and not letting his blocking form.
Well, the Saints have only picked up 10 yards on the ground, 59 through the air, with 4:10 to go here in the first quarter. 2nd and 8, ball resting at the Saints 22. Split backfield behind Todd, wideouts left and right. Straight drop back, looking right, throwing on the near side to Martin. He's got him at the 32-yard line, where he's knocked out of bounds by Ernest Gibson, the left corner on that side. A 10-yard pickup by the Saints. Gibson starting in place of Ronnie Lepet, who's out with a heel injury.
It's a good throw by Richard Todd and a good play. Everyone goes to the left, both backs. That makes the linebackers go that way. Richard just drops out a little semi-roll to the right. This tackles, Dave Waymer coming up in his cornerback position. When he misses, there's no one there.
And 2nd and 20, ball resting back at their own 15-yard line. Sweeping right is Campbell, trying to turn the corner. He will not be able to. No gain on the play as Campbell attempted to sweep right.
The sweep play is not developing at all. It's got to be a good mesh between the offensive lineman and the ball carrier. Either the Patriots are doing a good job of stopping, or the Saints aren't doing a good job of execution.
Campbell, 8 carries for 18 yards. One of those was a 10-yard pickup on the draw. There really hasn't been much running room in his defense for any Saint running back tonight. 3rd and 20. Ball at his own 15-yard line. Saints employ 4 wide receivers for Todd. Straight drop back. Pressure stepping up. Now he will be sacked again at the 10-yard line.
The rush there as they block it.
Blocked at the goal line, into the hands of Tutupu. Touchdown, Patriots.
The breakdown on the special teams there. As we mentioned before, they tried to block one earlier, came close. Brian Hansen, after getting off 2 good punts earlier, they came through that time, blocked it, ball bounced right to Tutupu. He takes it in the end zone.
Well, there's a quick turn of events as the Patriots get a very quick touchdown. Tutupu, an excellent special teams player. He got a room service bounce on that one, to be sure, but the Patriots pouring through to block the punt of Brian Hansen. Hansen had kicked for a 52-yard average on his 2 earlier punts of the night. But that one was blocked and turned into a touchdown. So the Patriots running away with things here in the first half. Tony Franklin on to add the extra point. The hold by Eason. Snap, hold, kick is up, and good. So lightning strikes for the Patriots as they take a 21-3 poor kick. He shanked it. That's going to be inside the 35-yard line, perhaps. The official
Lamar, first-year player.
Herbert Harris, a former USFL player who's been hampered in training camp with an injury. His first catch, 12 yards. He had it, he dropped it, he fell on it, and he was ruled to have had possession of the football on the completion.
Bobby steps up and finds a wide open Herbert Harris. Not enough for the first down, but does get Morton in field goal range.
Morton comes on to attempt a 45-yard field goal. Again, it's Brian Hansen on the hold. Left hash mark. Snap, placement, kick is up, and it is good. A 45-yard field goal by Morton Anderson. And he has doubled his personal score and that of the Saints. There's a timeout on the field with 11:09 remaining in the third quarter, and you score. The Patriots 28 and the Saints 6. Great drop back for the Patriots, throwing a wobbly pass that is caught to the 40, just short of the 40-yard line.
Wayne Coffey, wide receiver from Southwest Texas, 5'7", just runs a sideline route. Dave Waymer's got him close, but then Dave misses the tackle after he catches the ball.
17-yard pickup from Shield to Coffey.
Not really a good throw. I'm sure Dave Waymer somewhat rusty after being hobbled with a thigh pull for the last couple of weeks, missing a lot of time in training camp. They want him to get a lot of action.
Thought for a second Waymer might come up and pick that off. First and 10 now. Ball resting at the 38-yard line of the Patriots. Handoff on the draw, straight ahead to the 40, but flags all over the place.
I think they're going to get Pat Swift.
A gain of 5 yards by Mike LeBlanc. And for the Patriots, that will be close to a first down. Perhaps they'll measure. Right now showing no inclination to do so, and now they will. Officials timeout as they'll bring in the chains. The ball resting just between the 47 and 48-yard line. Brett Maxey eyeballs it.
Joe Colbrand has replaced Ricky Jackson at the left linebacker spot. Joe has had a real good training camp, not only the linebacker position, but on special teams.
It's just short. Short by about 1.5 inches. Just short for the Patriots. Joe Shield again in at quarterback. We expect to see Steve Calabria as well. The first 3 quarterbacks on this team are going to be Tony Eason, Steve Grogan, and Tom Ramsey, barring an injury.
I think Raymond Berry has just given these 2 young fellows just a chance to say they've played in a game before Tuesday.
So it will be second and short with the ball resting just beyond the 47-yard line of the Patriots. Wideouts left and right, split backfield behind Shield. Give it straight ahead, crossing the 50 into the 45-yard line of the Saints is Cletus Jones, another new running back. So he got the first down by about 8.5 yards. A 9-yard pickup for Cletus Jones. So all the Patriots need is another productive running back. They've got Collins, they've got James, they've got Tutupu. Now they've got Cletus Jones, they've got Robert Weathers, who hasn't played tonight. They've got Reggie Dupart, who didn't even dress. And they've got a guy by the name of Eric Jordan, who they are very high on, a first-year man out of Purdue who has a pulled hamstring. First and 10, ball at the 45 of the Saints. Straight drop back for Shield. Throwing out of the backfield, caught and dropped at the 41-yard line.
Brett Maxey coming up from the weak safety spot. A blitz probably from the linebacking core. That would bring Brett Maxey out of the secondary into man-to-man coverage on a running back. He's right there to make the tackle on a short gain.
Catch made by LeBlanc out of the backfield. Let's pause 5 seconds for station identification. This is the Saints Football Network.
Channel 4, New Orleans.
Second and 6. Patriots moving into Saints territory now at the 41. Shield with an eye backfield behind him. Give to the tailback. It's LeBlanc trying to sweep right, trying to turn the corner. He'll do so, but gain only about 2. Hunting and pecking his way down the line of scrimmage, finally turning the corner, but bounced out of bounds over there by Joe Colbrand.
Misdirection play by the Patriots, giving the ball to the eye back deep in the backfield, and he takes it out outside to the right with a lineman leading. Good job by Antonio Gibson. He didn't make the tackle, but he forced the back.
Brian Hansen's punt and got a touchdown out of it.
Willie Tullis checks out. I believe Kelvin Edwards is not the kicker. Too many times, oftentimes when the rusher comes in, he'll go for his leg, and the kick is out in front. Good job by Frank Watley. He's been on a lot of special teams and knows what he's doing.
So each team has blocked a punt tonight.
Saints have spent a lot of time working on this. They put the bags down, the cushions over in Hammond where they make the people that are rushing lay out and dive.
So the Saints trying to capitalize on the turnover. 1st and 10, the ball resting at the New England 11. Straight ahead, it's Mays. Now he covers up that football down to the 8. Rourke has the most serious injury. It looked like he had hurt his knee. 2nd and 7, ball resting at the New England 8. Just 30 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. Hebert with a split backfield behind him. Mays and Jordan. Straight drop back, looks right. Lots of straight drop. Looking, running up in the pocket. Lots of time, now throwing it in the direction of Mays. Touchdown! Oh, what a nice catch by Reuben Mays, circling out of the backfield.
Great catch and a fine throw by Bobby Hebert. He stepped up. I think Reuben Mays just had an out pattern and wisely took it deep when he saw Bobby Hebert had plenty of time or was in trouble. Just turned it downfield. Bobby threw it right in between two defenders. And a great job of holding on to the football by Reuben Mays.
Wanted to throw it over the middle, could find no one open. Just lofted it out toward Mays, who made a leaping grab and then held on to the ball as he crossed. 1st and 10 now. Ball at the New England 40. Split backfield behind Hebert. Lots of reserves on both sides of the line of scrimmage. Handoff to Mays. Split backfield for Hebert. Wideouts left and right. Straight drop. Looking left. Pulls it down and scrambles to his left. Throwing across his body. And Edwards and Thompson. Straight drop back. Looking for it all down the far sideline to Edwards. Incomplete. But a flag back at the 10.
By Pepsi, the choice of a new generation. By your New Orleans area Toyota dealers. And by Taco Bell, the cure for the common meal.
Hello again, everybody. I'm Larry Matson. Welcome to another Jim Mora Show. Well, the preseason is over. From now on, every game counts, and we're only 16 weeks away from the playoffs. Jim Mora will be along with us shortly to talk about the last preseason game of the year against Kansas City. We'll hear some comments from the players about Camp Mora, and we'll discuss recent trades and player movements. And, of course, we'll talk about the Atlanta Falcons, Game 1 of the 1986 regular season. Plus, we'll hear some questions from the fans, so don't go away. We'll be back with that and a lot more. Preseason is over, and every team in the NFC West finished 2-2. I'm really not sure what that means, if anything. So let's take a quick look at the Kansas City game highlights. Frank Wadlett opened the scoring opportunities with an interception off a Todd Blackledge deflected pass. Wadlett made a diving catch just off the turf, but the Saints failed to capitalize on this turnover. A few plays later, Dave Wilson's pass to Eric Martin was picked off by Deron Cherry to end the Saints scoring threat. Nick Lowry put the game's first points on the board with a field goal of 42 yards, and the Chiefs led 3-0. Dave Wilson, the Saints starter in this final preseason game, found Eugene Goodlow for 24 yards, keeping a late second quarter drive alive. Morton Anderson kicked home the tying points with a 30-yard field goal to make it 3-3 at the half. Morton Anderson another field goal, making it 6-3 in the third quarter. Dave Waymer picked off this Bill Kenny pass and returned it 32 yards to the 41. But again, the Saints failed to make the best of an opportunity. A sack forced them out of scoring range. Bill Kenny caught a Saints defense looking for anything but a long pass and found Stephon Page for 42 yards and an apparent score. But the replay official ruled Page down 2 feet short. On the next play, Jeff Smith plunged over from the 1, and KC led 10-6. Bobby Hebert quarterbacked the second half for the Saints, and look at this hit in the fourth quarter. Looked like whiplash as he separated from the ball. Kansas City recovered with 4.5 minutes to go. But watch closely as the Saints pull this one out. Here's the game winner. Seconds ticking away. Bobby Hebert still groggy from the vicious hit he had taken earlier. Throws one deep. Eric Martin grabs it in the end zone for the winning score, capping an 86-yard drive in 9 plays with a 41-yard touchdown catch. The play was called Cage 60 Rocket.
It's 3 receivers where, I'm in the middle, I run down. Hopefully I can catch the ball. If not, I can tip it to one of the other guys, and hopefully we come up with the ball.
This is something we may be seeing in 1986. Look back at the waning moments of the first half. Wilson at quarterback, trying to hit Martin in the end zone. So close, but not quite close enough. Then in the third quarter, a 3rd and 5. Hebert to Martin for 19 yards and a first down. The Saints may have found the big play man and receiver, Eric Martin, 2 years out of LSU, number 84. Eric Martin does have that something special that the big play men have, and along with Bobby Hebert, that might be a very famous twosome by the end of the season.
I hope so, Larry. I hope they're making a lot of big plays between the two of them.
Is it unusual for a young guy like a Martin, a second-year guy, to be a big play guy, or is that something of an impact player? He wasn't that coming out of college, but he seems to be that now.
Well, he's made some big plays for us in the preseason, and he's made some big plays for us in camp, and I hope that it continues through the regular season. But if a guy's capable of making big plays, he can make them any time in his career.
They're both from Louisiana, and you're going to start an all-Louisiana backfield with Bobby Hebert, Dalton Hilliard, and Buford Jordan in the game.
Right. Well, they're the guys that have earned the starting spots, regardless of their where they're from, what state they're from. They're the best we got right now, and I think they'll all do a good job for us.
It's the first time in the Saints' history to have an all-Louisiana backfield, so that's something special for the hometown fans.
Well, that's
anyway.
great, and I hope that they play special for the hometown people, too.
And when we return, we'll be talking about the recently completed training camp. Mora was indeed a tough camp, the kind of camp that Bruce Clark really enjoyed, the kind that Ricky Jackson says he expected to have since turning pro. But what about the residual effects of a tough camp? Listen to some of the players commenting after the Kansas City game.
That could be true, but, the guys who came in pretty good shape, I think, we're still a little leg weary, but I think Coach Mora will make sure that we have our legs back under us when we play the Falcons.
Well, I think we're starting to get our legs back now. Preseason you have to work hard, and most of the guys out the other team didn't have their legs either, so it was a trade-off.
Well, I'm trying to get my legs up under me. I've been doing a whole lot of running, and hopefully other guys can get their legs up under them, and hopefully we have a very good season.
Yes, Coach Moore indicated to us that he'll always have a training camp, a tough training camp like that, and that we're supposed to play with rubbery legs in the preseason. But, he tapered down, toward the last week, and when you're supposed to taper down, maybe Coach Phillips, tapered too early. I don't know what it takes to be a winner, but whatever, I have confidence in him, and, no matter how it may look in the preseason, he says wait till the regular season's over before you judge us. And, and I'm with him, and I'm with him in his advice and his direction.
It was a tough camp, and some of the fans may feel that a camp like that makes a team tired as the season begins. Do you believe in that? Was it a tough camp like that?
Supposed to be tired.
You get them ready, though, for the regular season by giving them an easier week before you start? Or?
Well, you taper down. I mean, you start out training camp, and you work twice a day, two and a half hours per practice, and anybody's going to be tired doing that. But every other team is doing the same thing, and
it makes the games a little easier if you work that hard in training camp.
Well, sure, and it prepares you for the regular season. That's what a training camp is for. It's not to prepare you for the preseason. It's to prepare you for the regular season. And I think our players will be where they ought to be when we open the season this week against Atlanta.
Let's talk about some of the movements made this week by the ball club. You traded Wayne Wilson to Minnesota. You pick up a wide receiver in Mike Jones, who caught 46 balls for the Vikings last year.
Yeah, we think it was a good trade for the Saints. They needed a running back, Minnesota did, and they like one that can catch the ball and be involved in their passing game, which Wayne can do, and we needed a wide receiver. We had signed a young fullback by the name of John Williams that we felt like could come in and play fullback for us and do a good job. So we think we got a good fullback, and we got a wide receiver to help that group, and we had to let Wayne go. Wayne has been a very productive player for the Saints, but we think it was a good move for the football team.
You mentioned John Williams, the fullback. You also added, re-signed Chuck Comiskey, the big offensive lineman, 300-pounder.
Right. Chuck We had let go when we went down to 50, but always in the back of our mind, we knew Chuck was there. We were hoping he wouldn't get picked up by another team. We cut him when we had to get down, and yet he was still being considered by us. When we got to our final roster, he wasn't someone that we had forgotten about that said, well, he's not going to be on the team because we've cut him. He was one that we let go, but we were always thinking, well, he may be the best guy we've got to be our third guard, and we may bring him back, which is what we did.
You're going into the regular season with 2 quarterbacks. What's the feeling there? Do you feel comfortable with that right now?
Yeah, I feel comfortable with it. It's a little scary. I've never been in this situation before. About half the teams last year in the National Football League had 2 quarterbacks on their roster. The other half had 3. If we get through, you know, with these 2 guys staying healthy, we're going to be okay. If not, we're going to have to bring somebody in. But it's a little scary, like I say, but we've made the decision to go with 2, and we're going to do it until we feel like we can't do it anymore.
It's not the ideal situation, but at the same time, you're able to keep an extra linebacker or a lineman or a defensive back or wherever.
Right. And this is why we did it. We had some football players at some other positions that we weren't quite ready to give up on yet, that we think have a chance to help our football team down the road. So we decided to carry an extra person there and only go with 2 quarterbacks.
All right, let's talk about the Atlanta Falcons, and we'll do that when we return right after this.
A new direction.
We kept the defense off balance, mixed up both the pass and the run, and that's the type of offense we're going to be.
2-time Louisiana Sportscaster of the Year, Larry Matson, and head coach Jim Mora.
You heard it first here, but doggone it, don't tell the Falcons.
At a new time, Monday nights at 7:30 on WGNO 26. Sports television, New Orleans.
The Falcons. Players come and go, but the rivalry lives on.
You know, it happened, you know, it's something that started a long time before we got here, and we kind of just carried the tradition on.
Yes, it is. You can believe it. I think probably the fans make it a little more intense than the players do because, but the guys, they get caught up in all the fans' emotions and they turn it on too.
The people, the fans, the media, and everything kind of build it up that way. I think it was maybe more so before we came here and before Bum was here. And then, of course, you know, Atlanta, and then it's still just the way the people handle it. You've got to, you know, take it that way. It's a little bit extra.
Even the newest Saints, those from the USFL, have gotten a little Falcon fever.
I understand it's a pretty big rivalry, and, you know, the bigger the game and the more you're into it and all, and I'm just kind of looking forward to a game like that, a big opener for me, and it'll be my first NFL regular season game, and just looking forward to it.
And the veterans who remember the past look toward the game as a game of vindication, a game to begin a new era, a game to put memories of losing seasons aside, and an opportunity to get 1986 off to a good start.
Oh, there's no doubt about it, especially when they beat us twice last year. It's very special to me. And, you know, whether or not, you know, their record indicates the quality of their team last year, you can see they came down here and really beat us after we beat Frisco and we was on a cloud, you know. They kind of like bust our pink cloud and bring us back to earth twice. So therefore, you know, I carry grudges over to the next year. I think we really have to get on Atlanta.
I've got some questions prepared for Coach Mora, but I've got to digress from that a moment, Coach. This one you've prepared for a long time, many years. It's your first NFL head coaching game. Regardless of the outcome, it's one you're going to always remember, your first one. Tell us what that experience you think is going to be like, the first big game.
If we win, it'll be great. I'll remember it a long time. Well, I'm excited about it, and yet it's a game. It's one of 16 games that we're preparing for this year. It's really no more important than the next game's going to be, although it's the most important game right now because it's the game we're playing. But I'll probably be a lot more excited about it right before game time than I am right now. But I've noticed the butterflies a little bit during the week and a little pressure building, and yet I'm trying to stay calm.
It's something you've looked forward to for a long time.
Oh, sure. It's going to be a great thrill.
They've got Gerald Riggs back now. They've got William Andrews. And by the way, how is he? Is he able to play?
Well, Andrews has played in the preseason games. He hasn't looked like the William Andrews of old. And they're playing him some at running back. And against the Redskins, they played him as their H-back, as their second tight end that does a lot of motion and catches passes and all. But he's getting better every week. And you know, I think he'll get back to his old form before too long. And, of course, Riggs has been in camp all week. And so he'll see some action against us in the game, too.
They got David Archer at quarterback. What can you tell us about him?
Well, Archer has looked good in the preseason. He's throwing the ball well. Got a good crop of receivers. And the thing that's impressive about Archer is his ability to scramble and escape the rush. He was a leading rusher as a quarterback in the NFL last year, and he causes some problems in that area also.
Saints fans remember Cliff Austin, maybe not because he played for the Saints, which he has in the past, but because of last year he ran a 94-yard kickoff back for a touchdown.
Yeah, Austin's their starting tailback. They play a one-back set on offense, and he's been their main guy in the preseason. Now with Riggs back, I don't know if he'll continue to be, but he's been impressive on film.
Defensively, do you see anything there you might be able to exploit? I know you're not going to give away the secrets here, but...
You know, there's some areas that we think we can, where we can move the ball and do some things. They've got a new defensive system, new defensive staff entirely, some new young players led by Tony Casillas, you know, the #1 pick from the nose tackle from Oklahoma. And they're learning a new system, but they're very aggressive. They've got some talent over there, but hopefully there are some things that we can, where we can move the ball against them.
They got a lot of Oklahoma players, in fact.
Yeah, they do.
They really do.
Rick Bryan.
All right, when we come back, we're going to take a look not only at the game, but we're going to look at the fans as well, right after this. They'll be sporting those new uniforms when they host Atlanta in the Dome, but you may want to take notice of the fans sitting around you. Mary Foster says the Saints aren't the only ones dressing up for the big game.
The things Saints fans do to cheer on the home team. I guess you could say they wear their loyalty right there on their cuffs. Did I say Saints fans wear their feelings on their cuffs? Well, they also wear them a lot of other places as well. While the team is busy suiting up and getting their game faces on, a lot of other folks are doing exactly the same. If you don't believe it, just look around the Superdome any Sunday. You'll see slogans, mottos, hopes, clearly spelled out. And, of course, plenty of the team colors.
Black and gold, that's the team's colors.
What are you wearing?
Be part of the team, get in the spirit of the game. I'm one of the fans, you know.
How long have you been doing this?
Since day one, when they opened at Tulane Stadium. Rams game, when they made that long touchdown. Dempsey's kick, his field goal. I've seen a lot of it.
Just a Saints fan for years. Just always dressed like this.
Does it help you identify or cheer, or what does it do?
It just gets me in the spirit of the Saints.
Because New Orleans is Saints country. That's the way we feel. We love the Saints. We back them 100%.
Well, I've been doing it now, I say 10 years in the Dome and about 5 or 6 in Tulane Stadium. File them out of town, in town. Just a hobby. And it's nice. I like the Saints, even though we had a winning season yet, but it still show your team spirit.
Saints fans are different. They've followed the team through good times and bad. They followed it in town and out. And, of course, they want to make sure everyone knows where their loyalties lie.
Well, you know, you wear your colors like we go to Atlanta. Well, Atlanta fans, they come in, they wear their colors. You know, to show you, just like we go, okay, like we go to Atlanta, we dress. You can tell the Saints fan from the Atlanta fans by our colors. In other words, we almost resemble the team, in other words.
Although some of the team paraphernalia sported by the fans is standard, off-the-rack issue, there are those who prefer the custom designer look. Take Moses, for example. When he leads the faithful to the promised land of the playoffs, it'll be in an outfit he designed. Many of the followers will also be in works of art, custom designed and proudly displayed.
Okay, it was done in Homer, Louisiana by a young lady as the new emblem of the Saints, with the Louisiana State emblem in the background and the helmet with the fleur-de-lis.
Why would you go to all the expense and trouble and then wear it?
I guess you call me a die-hard Saint.
Well, my mom and my sisters thought of the idea. They went ahead and they got the shirts made in Westwego. Got them airbrushed, showed the guy what they wanted, and this is what he came up with.
Styles may come and styles may go, but for these fans, one thing will never change. Game day fashions are always going to be black and gold. Maybe it's because getting into the duds helps you get into the spirit. come the big play. One thing you can count on, though, is those who dress up know how to whoop it.
Get into it, Coach.
Boy, they do. That's great. I love it.
Mora. You saw that one. Well, we've got some questions for you, Coach, from those wild and crazy fans. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's
go.
fire away.
Bring them on.
Coach Mora, I've heard it said more than once that offense sells tickets, but defense wins championships. Would you care to comment on that statement? And also, I'd like you to tell me, as a Saints fan who's been loyal for 20 years, what are we going to see new and different this year to give us hope for the future?
Those are good openers.
Good questions. In response to your first question, offense does sell tickets, but defense wins championships, because as long as you play good defense, you've always got an opportunity to stay in the ball game and be competitive. And it's very seldom do you see a team go to the playoffs or win the Super Bowl without a good defensive team. And you see a lot of teams that have spectacular offensive players and good offensive teams that for some reason, if their defense is suspect, they never make it to the final game.
How about hope for 86?
Hope for 86. Well, I hope the thing you see differently this year is winning more games. You know, that's the number one thing we're trying to accomplish, and the bottom line is just win. And how we go about it is we're going to do it the way I think we need to do it, and our staff thinks we need to do it within the realm of the type of team we have, try to take advantage of what we do best and get the job done and win football games.
And we've got another one. Let's take a look at the next question.
Coach Mora, I'd like to know, what are your plans to strengthen the defensive secondary?
Good question. You know, the Saints secondary has been pretty darn good down through the years. I know last year, statistically, they didn't have a great year, but prior to that, they were very good, and statistically, we're at the top of the rankings in the National Football League. This year, we hope to stay healthy. That's the number one thing we can do. I think we've got some good athletes back there that can play and win for us, but we've got to keep them healthy and playing every game. Willie Tullis, who came in last year during the middle of the season, will be back and is playing well. Dave Waymer's playing well, has had an excellent camp. Keeping Russell Gary healthy this year will add the strength to our secondary. And then lastly, we've added two new players to the defensive secondary. Antonio Gibson, who played for me at the Philadelphia Baltimore Stars, and Van Jakes, who was also in the USFL, and before that played for the Kansas City Chiefs. And I think they will give us real good depth.
All right, Coach, next week we'll get some letters in and see how they ask questions for you. And, guys, it's going to be a big ball game. Good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
Hope you enjoyed the show, and we look forward to seeing you next week right here on the Jim Mora Show.
The Jim Mora Show has been brought to you by No Beer, made the American way, by Pepsi, the choice of the new generation, by your New Orleans area Toyota dealers, and by Taco Bell, the cure for the common meal.
Later, don't miss Phase 4 and Sherlock Holmes and the Hound of the Baskervilles. Tonight's Terror Theater beginning at 10:30 on WGNO 26, Television New Orleans Star.
32 working inside out.